Everyone tells you that you need to have a strong, well-organized CV in order to land your academic dream job. But what does a good CV look like? I'm going to show you a format that you can use in this video. Hey everybody, I'm Leigh from teachingacademia.com, and I'm all about giving you the tools you need to navigate academia to make your best impact. If you're new here, welcome. This is the place to come for tips and advice around career issues in higher education so that you can design the career that you want to have. Now, today we're talking about how to write CVs, or the curriculum vitae, and specifically how you write a good CV for the job that you desire in higher education. There are some things that you can do to structure this that are going to help you be organized from the get-go, stay on top of things, and that are going to give you an edge when you present it to a search committee. The best way I know how to teach you to do this is to show you my own. So we're going to transition over to my curriculum vitae, and I'm going to show you the format that you can use. So let's go take a look. All right, so you can see we are on my website, teachingacademia.com. My vitae is always on my website. It's always relatively up to date. So you can feel free to come over here at any point and take a look at what I have going on and steal this format. Now, in addition, in the show notes, I am going to link to a file that you can use. You can download it and use it as a template for making your own personal vitae. So a couple things that I like to highlight here, because it's online, I would not do this in for a job application, but because it's online, I do like to have when it was updated last so that anybody that might find me online knows, but I would pull that out if I was sending this into a search committee. Personally, you want to start with your personal information, right? This is your name, job title, etc. For a search committee, I would also include my email and a phone number, not listing my phone number online, so I'm not, that's not there. This is something that you do not see in every, or most, I don't think, or maybe any templates for academic CVs, but it's something to think about. And this is my social media presence. And, these are all hot linked because it's a blog, not because it's on a website. But if I was doing this as a paper document, I might put like my Twitter handle or put the, actual links so people could copy and paste right into their browser and find me that way. So that is not required, but it's something to think about because I do think that having a social media presence is very important in academia. It's something I think that is worth developing. And if you have one that's appropriate, I think you should absolutely share it. And that's where I would put it, somewhere up in the beginning. Educational history, right? You want to put all the degrees that you have. If you are in grad school, then you just put your expected graduation dates, okay? And then, and you could put social media after education history, okay? I think that's fine too. Professional experience, all right? These are all the positions that you've held, all right, up to this point, including your current position. So, for example, when I was in grad school, all I would have had was this right here that says 6th grade language arts and social studies teacher, because I started grad school in 2000. So I would have had here, instead of assistant professor, I would have had, graduate student, teaching assistant, research assistant, whatever my current assistantship was, I would have put that in there in its place. But otherwise, you can see your professional experience lists out exactly what it says. And then honors, if you have any, okay? So these are going to be, these are not grants. These are any kind of awards that you have received. So, although this looks like a grant, it's actually, it was an internal award during my doctoral studies. So any kind of awards that you've received for your work, you want to list those early on as well. And then you have your bibliography, okay? And I've broken this up. You'll see there are refereed papers. All right, these are peer-reviewed, and so then if you have any peer-reviewed publications, this is where you list them. Start off here. Depending on how long you've been out, right, your list will be longer or shorter than mine. If you were in any book chapters, right, I put that. Or if you had any sort of invited columns or pieces, you could have a section for that. if you've written any books, and you could switch books with book chapters. I mean, that's really minor, but I would put the peer-reviewed articles first, unless having a book is the important thing, is the currency in your field. So obviously, this is what works for me. This is the way that it's valued. You should switch this around based on on the value that is placed on these different things in your field. Then I have something called other works. All right, and this is where I put stuff that it's sort of like it's new in terms of showing up on Vitas, and I don't really have a good way to capture it. And this has things like podcasts, right? I have an invited podcast here for Higher Ed Social. This is hot linked. Invited contribution for Inside Higher Ed, invited blog post, another invited podcast, another Inside Higher Ed, a blog post. That's where I put all of that stuff. I just kind of put it all right there. I happen to write some ebooks. They're not peer reviewed. They're not under contract. I just wrote them and published them myself. But hey, I'm going to tell you they're there. You can click on the link and go to Amazon and take a look at them if you want. Then I've got grants. Okay, so you can see all the grants. And then we get down into presentations. So these are peer-reviewed presentations. You could also just call it presentations, right? I start off with national, international conferences, okay? And that's all listed here. Again, your list will vary in length based on how long you've been out. There are state regional conferences, okay? I broke this up, all right, into two different things because there is a distinction. National and international conferences are typically seen as more prestigious than state and regional conferences. But I also want people to know I am involved at the state and regional level in getting out and talking to people around where I reside. And I think it's very important. And so there you can see what all of those are. And, if you're just starting out, this is a good way to build your CV, is to start and get speaking experience. Start by going to state and regional conferences. Usually they're close by. They can be pretty cheap. You might be able to get a professor or a department chair to pay for you to go, especially if there's not an overnight. So those are all things to look into. And then I have invited presentations, okay? Still prestigious. Those are all listed out here. And then service. So service, I have national committee service, and these are just kind of like the highlights. And then I have board member, where I'm an editorial board member of, editorial, any kind of editorial work that I've done, service where I'm a reviewer, but I'm not a board member, and then consulting, okay? And then actually there's a typo here because this is really getting down into some more localized university and college level service, which honestly, if you're just starting out, you can put that in there and it shows that you've done some service and know how to be a team player. But at the national level, or once you've gotten a job and have been established and have tenure, etc., I don't think you need to put that on a CV that you're sending out for a job application, but you do want to keep track of it in some way so that you get credit for, in your current position. So that's it. That's kind of the basics for a CV. I have found in going through here that I have a little bit of cleaning up to do, and that's okay. So I am going to link in the show notes to a template that you can use for your own Vita. Feel free to swap things, move things around, make it work for you, make it work for the position that you are applying for. But those are the key elements. You'll notice that I don't have classes in there, right? I'm not talking about classes that I've taught, but if you're applying to an institution that is, predominantly teaching institution, you may wish to put that in there. And so on the document that you can download on my template, you will see I will have a spot for you where you might want to put in information about classes that you have taught. So, all right, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you can catch all my videos. And while you're at it, head on down to the comments and let's talk about your questions and experiences with crafting your Vita so that you can navigate higher ed to have the career that you want to have.